Hello everyone. In this session we are going to discuss about the next phylum, that is phylum Platyhelminthes. Okay, and it is the new phylum. So let's start with the phylum. Okay, and this phylum is we are also going to discuss on the basis of the characters that we have studied in the previous classes. Okay, so let's start with the phylum number 4, phylum Platyhelminthes. Okay, so the word phylum Platyhelminthes has been taken from two different words. Here, platy, the first word is the platy, means flat, and helminths means the worms. Okay, so these are nothing but the flat worms. So here we are going to study about the flat worms. Okay, what is their habitat, what is their mode of reproduction, what is their mode of nutrition. Okay, then what kind of body plan they have. Okay, whether they are diploblastic, whether they are triploblastic, what type of level of organization they exhibit. Okay, that we are going to study here. Now, in previous phylas, we have discussed about various common characteristics like they are aquatic in habitat, okay, then they are diploblastic, okay, then they have tissue level of organization like that. But here in this we are going to add some more points, okay, there are some new points added in this Platyhelminthes. So let's see, okay, we will write the characteristics, general characteristics of this Platyhelminthes, and we will see certain examples of the Platyhelminths, okay. So let's start with it. Now here already we have taken the meaning, that is platy means flat and the worms means, or the helminths means the worms. Okay. So the first point over here is they are dorso-ventrally, they are dorso-ventrally flat. So their body is dorso-ventrally flat in the sense what? When we look after this structure, see, suppose this is a hand, okay. This part of the hand is dorsal, it is called dorsal part, and this part is referred as the ventral part, okay. So when we look after this hand, okay, what we see, it is flat structure. So this flat structure, it is seen in case of these flatworms, okay. They look like ribbon or they look like the tape, you know, the measuring tape is there. It is similar to the measuring tape. So what it is called as dorso-ventrally flat. Okay. The next general characteristic of this animal is these animals have bilateral symmetry. These animals have bilateral symmetry. See, this is again another new point, because until now what we have studied that the organisms which are found in the coelentrates, okay, even in poriferans or what do we say, in Ctenophora also, they exhibit the radial type of symmetry. But here, that is a new point in Platyhelminthes, they have the bilateral symmetry. Okay. Then next, they are triploblastic. What do you mean by triploblastic? That is, they are composed of 3 germinal layers. What are those? Ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. Okay. So there is a presence of 3 germinal layers. If you look after the structure, that will come to know. Then next they show organ system level of organization. So in these animals we can see there will be formation of the organ systems, okay, which help in the performing various physiological activities within these animals. So they consist of organ system level of organization. The next, they show cephalization. Now what is meant by cephalization? See, this is a characteristic that we have studied during the introductory part. So cephalization means it is called the formation of head. Formation of head. Okay. So that can be seen in case of platyhelminthes. Okay. The next, they are acoelomates. Okay. So these animals, they don't have the true body cavity. Okay. So they are lacking the body cavity. Now what is the characteristic feature of the acoelomate that we have discussed during the introductory part also? Suppose this is the body wall or the body wall which is consisting of the alimentary canal. So this is the ectoderm and this part is the endoderm. And the part between the ectoderm and endoderm supposed to be the mesoderm, but here, okay, there will be presence of number of cells. So the cells will be added over here. Okay, many cells can be seen. So this part, okay, when it is seen in animals can be referred as the acoelomates. Okay, so that is about the acoelomate. The next, habitat. Now where they are actually formed. Okay, so they are mostly endoparasites. Endoparasites means that is they are found in the body of other animals. Okay, they are called as endoparasites, and some are or few are free living. Okay, so of this some examples we can study about it, like planaria is there, which is the free living type of platyhelminths, and about tapeworm, okay, that is Taenia solium, the scientific name of the tapeworm, which can be referred as the endoparasite, which is found in the human body also. Okay, and some of the parasites like some of the platyhelminths, they are also found in the body of the sheep or the goat. They are called liver fluke. So that we will discuss when we will discuss about the examples of this phylum Platyhelminthes. Okay, so they are endoparasites. They are found in the body of the animals. Okay, the next, they are ammonotelic. Ammonotelic means what? They secrete the nitrogenous waste material in the form of ammonia. So they are called as the ammonotelic type of animals. Okay. So see here, many of the characteristic feature will be similar as that of the other phyla, but here few characteristics are newly added in this phylum. And which are those? Like they are dorsoventrally flat, animals have bilateral symmetry, they are triploblastic, they show organ system level of organization, they show cephalization. Okay, these are the points which are newly added in this phylum Platyhelminthes. Now next we are going to discuss about more points. Okay, now as they are ammonotelic, that means the excretory material, it is in the form of ammonia, and the excretion, it is performed by a special cells. Okay, it is, we'll write here, excretion is performed by the flame cells or or solenocytes or protonephridia. See, flame cells or solenocytes or protonephridia are the same. Okay, these are the same structures, but the different names has been given according to their functionality. So here, flame cells means what? The appearance of these cells is like a when we see the flames coming from any kind of burning substance, right? So such a structure can be observed. Okay, so the name has given flame cells. Then solenocytes as well as the protonephridia, these are the excretory part in case of this type of animals, that is the platyhelminths. Okay, the next point that we are going to discuss is about the digestive system. Okay, I'll rub these points and we'll continue again. So the next that we are going to discuss is about the digestive system. Digestive system. So basically, what type of digestive system these animals have? These animals don't have any kind of digestive system. Why? Because they are found in the intestine of humans. Okay, these are found in the intestine of humans, and as they are found in the intestine of humans, what they do? They will accumulate their nutrition by the digested food itself within the intestine. Okay, so whatever digested food is there in our intestine, from that they will accumulate their nutrition, or they can also suck the blood, like blood cells or the plasma cells or the red blood corpuscles. From this they utilize their nutrition. Okay, so digestive system is absent. Okay, digestive system is absent, and where in case of digestive system is absent, in case of the endoparasites, and in case of free living platyhelminths, okay, in free living platyhelminths they have the digestive system. Okay, so in free living we will write here, in free living, okay, that is planaria, they have digestive system. Okay, so in case of endoparasites, the digestive system is absent as they are found in the intestine. Okay, the next that we are going to discuss is the nervous system. Okay, the nervous system. The nervous system is ladder-like. Okay, it is not well developed in case of phylum Platyhelminths, but it is ladder-like, as we have discussed in the introductory part also when we were discussing about the nervous system. Many different types of nervous systems are seen. So here the nervous system is ladder-like, although in these animals we see the cephalization, that is formation of head, but brain is not at all developed. So it has the ladder-like nervous system. Then next, reproduction. Okay, so reproduction in or the platyhelminths, they are hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite means what? They have the bisexual nature. Okay, and but undergoes cross fertilization. Okay, but undergoes cross fertilization. That means they fertilizes their gametes with some other liver fluke or the other type of what we say platyhelminth. Okay, the next, and fertilization is generally internal. Okay, which is taking place within the body of these platyhelminths. The next, development. Okay, development can be direct or indirect. Now, what is meant by direct and indirect? Direct means there will be development of the new offspring itself, or the young one will be the new offspring, and indirect in the sense it will undergo metamorphosis. That means it will develop by step mechanism. That is, larva will be there, different larval stages will be there, and then it will develop into the young one. Okay. So, here example in case of direct are the planaria. Okay, planaria, they give rise to the new young one, and in indirect example is the tapeworm. Okay, so this is the example of in the indirect type of development. Now let's see the examples of the platyhelminths. So these are the few general characteristic features. Okay, so we have to compare this characteristic feature with the introductory part. In introduction we have seen all the characteristic features, right? So you have to recall all those points over here. Okay, so it will be easier to understand for you. Okay, now next we are moving towards the examples of the platyhelminths. Okay, so let's see the examples of the platyhelminths. Let's see the examples. So the first example, okay, example number 1, that is Taenia solium. Taenia solium, it is the scientific name of tapeworm. Tapeworm. Okay, it is the scientific name of the tapeworm, which is also called as, which is also referred as pork tapeworm. Now, why it is called pork tapeworm? That will understand. Okay, so basically Taenia solium, which is also named as tapeworm or the pork tapeworm. Okay, so the name itself indicates tape means the body is similar to the measuring tape, and it is a worm, so it is called tapeworm. And why it is called pork tapeworm? Because the in its what we say life cycle, it is also found in the pork. Pork in the sense it is the meat of the pigs. Okay, so it is also found in the pigs, so it is called as the pork tapeworm. Now let's see the characteristic feature of the Taenia solium. Now all the general characters of the Taenia solium will be similar to that of the platyhelminths, the phylum platyhelminths. Few extra characteristics that we'll see here. Okay, so Taenia solium, it is digenetic. See the word digenetic. What is it mean by digenetic? Means the organisms which are capable of living in two different hosts. Okay, see the tapeworm is the endoparasite and it is capable of surviving in two different hosts, so it is called as the digenetic. Now that means, okay, that is have two hosts. Okay, now here which are these two hosts? It can be the humans, okay, and it can be the, and it is second is the pigs. So humans are the primary type of what we say host, okay, are the primary host. Now these are called primary host, okay. So these are called primary host. Now why they are called primary host? Because the sexual reproduction, because the sexual reproduction which takes place within this tapeworm will take place within the human body, okay. So what it is called primary host, and pigs are called secondary host, okay. And why they are called secondary host, we will see about it, okay. Secondary host. Now let's see the characteristic feature of this what we say Taenia solium again. So I'll rub this. It has two different hosts, that is the primarily man or the human is the first host and the second host is the pig. The next, the body is flat, okay, and divisible into three parts. It is divided into three parts, that is the scolex, second neck, okay, or which is also referred as prostrobilus, prostrobilus, and third part is the strobilus. Now if we look after the structure of Taenia solium, that is the tapeworm, it has the rounded head. It has the rounded head, okay, and this is followed by a flat structure or a narrow structure, that is the neck region, and which neck region it is again followed by the, it is also followed by the strobilus, okay. So here you can see the structure. So you can see the structure, the head part. This part is the scolex, and it consists of the hooks, okay. On its mouth surface there is presence of a hooks, and consists of three suckers or three pairs of suckers, okay. These are called suckers. So it help in the sucking the blood from the human intestine, okay. Now the head is the, this part is the scolex, okay, and this part is the prostrobilus, that is the neck part, and it consists of certain margins over here, okay, or these are called the segments, okay. This consists of a segments, okay, segmented body will be there. Now, and this region is referred as strobilus. Now the strobilus shows a kind of divergence in the body, that means when the body means at the anterior part the strobilus or the what we say the margins, they are nearer, okay. As it goes further the margins will increase, okay, and this margins will act as the place for cyst formation. Cyst in the sense it is a kind of uterus in case of these animals, where the where there will be the development of the cyst, or the cyst means after sexual reproduction the progenies will develop into cyst, okay, and this cyst will be released, okay, Okay, this will be released as a byproduct in the human excreta. Okay, so we'll discuss about it again. So this is the place where the cysts are formed. Many cysts means this cyst as they will develop and they will develop into individual tapeworm, okay, in future, but they are in the form of cyst and they are excreted from the human excreta, and when they come in contact with the pigs, okay, means pigs when they feed on this excretory material, at that time this cyst will enter in the body of the pork or the in the body of the what we say pigs, and when the humans they are cooking the pigs, okay, if they are not properly cooked, that means the cysts are capable of again infecting the humans. Okay, so what it is called as the diagenetic. So what it is called diagenetic means it has two hosts. So first of all, as the tapeworm you can see here, it is found in the human intestine. It will undergo sexual reproduction in the human intestine where it will develop the cyst, and this cyst will be okay released from the human excretory system, and it will be accumulated. When it is accumulated by the pigs, same cyst will enter within the pig body, and if the what we say if such pigs are cooked, means partially cooked and eaten, the pork, that is the meat of the pig, okay, will also contain the cyst and can cause again a disease in the humans, that is called teniasis. Okay, so the disease caused by the tapeworm is called teniasis. I hope you are getting this. It's very simple. Okay, so we'll write some more points about it. So strobilus, see here, it is segmented part. Okay, so it is having the segmented part, and this segmented part is also having the three main divisions. Okay, it is divided into three main parts. So what are those? Let's see. One, that is the immature part, immature strobilus. Okay, so in immature strobilus, sex organs are not fully developed. Okay, here immature strobilus, you can write sex organs are not well developed. Now second, that is the mature strobilus, Now what is the function of this mature strobilus? As there will be formation of the sex organs, or sex organs are fully developed over here. Okay, they will undergo sexual reproduction, and finally we have the third type of strobilus, or the third part of the strobilus is called gravid. Okay, so gravid in the sense here it is acting as a uterus. Okay, and in uterus what happens? After fertilization, cyst will be developed, and this cyst will be excreted during the process of excretion by the humans. So it has two types of host. First is the human, and after that it will enter into the pig's body. Okay, so that is about the Taenia solium. The next we will discuss about some more points, like here we have the fertilization. Now what kind of fertilization is seen in case of Taenia solium? So the fertilization is internal. Okay, so I'll rub this and we'll write some more points. Okay, you can pause the video and draw the diagrams. So in Taenia solium itself, we are going to write some more points. Okay, so let's start with it. Now here in Taenia solium, fertilization is self, or they exhibit the self fertilization. Okay, as they are hermaphrodite, so they will exhibit the self fertilization, and it is internal. Okay, so the fertilization is self as well as it is internal, which is taking place within the body of the tapeworm. The next, the scolex. The scolex means the head part or the rounded part of the tapeworm, that is called scolex, has 4 suckers. Okay, it is 4 suckers. By mistakenly, I have told 3 suckers earlier. So it is 4 suckers and 2 rows of hooks. Okay, so hooks basically they are responsible for attaching the tapeworm to the intestinal part of the humans. Okay, and from with the help of suckers, they will suck the blood as well as the lymphatic fluid from the body part to accumulate the nutrition. The next, uh, the cyst, the cysts are released with fecal material. Fecal material. Okay, that means the excretory material. Okay, fecal material means excretory material. Okay, and enters in pigs. Okay, enters in pigs and gets trapped in their muscles. Okay, it get trapped in their muscles. Okay, and when we are using such improperly cooked meat of the pigs, it may contain that cyst. Okay, it may contain the cyst. The next, development is indirect. Development is indirect, and it has 2 types of larvas. Okay, so development is indirect means it may undergo various changes to form the young ones, so that changes can be formed by the 2 different larvas. The one which is referred as the hexacanth larva or larvae, and another one is the cysticircus okay, larva or larvae. Okay, so these are the 2 different larvae which can be found in the tapeworm. Okay, during the developmental processes. Okay, and these 2 are the larval stages. These are the larval stages. Okay, now the disease caused by Taenia solium is taniasis. Okay, this is called taniasis. Now, this is about the entire description of the tapeworm. Okay, one more point I would like to add is these organisms, as they are found within the intestine, okay, they exhibit the anaerobic type of respiration, because the molecular oxygen which is required for the growth, okay, it is not been supplied within the intestine. Okay, so within intestine there will be lack of molecular oxygen, so they will respire anaerobically. Okay, they show anaerobic respiration. Okay, So this is about the phylum Platyhelminthes and example Taenia solium, that is called tapeworm. Now let's see another example. Okay, so it was an endoparasite. Okay, you have to remember all these characters. You have to note down all these characters in your notebook. Okay, and revise it regularly. And if you feel any kind of difficulty, you can ask me by texting it. Okay, so we are going to move the next example in this. Okay, so let's start with the next example. Example number 2. Okay, so here we are going to see the example is the planaria. 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 Okay, they are also referred as Dugacia. They are also referred as Dugacia. These are free living. These are free living platyhelminths. Platyhelminths. Okay, these are free living platyhelminths found in fresh water. Okay, found in fresh water. Now, the general characters will be similar to that of the phylum Platyhelminthes. Okay, we will see some important points about the planaria. Okay, now the head of these planaria is triangular. Head is triangular in shape. Okay, if we look after the body, we can understand, and it has the rudimentary eyes. Rudimentary eyes means these are not well developed eyes. Okay, so let's see the structure so that we'll understand. When we see the structure of this planaria, okay, we'll see the triangular head will be formed. Okay, and this triangular head consists of rudimentary eyes, and the body is flat leaf like. Okay, and the body is, sorry, draw once again. Okay, so here you can see two eyes are there which are rudimentary, and this is a dorsal view. It is dorsal view. Okay, and when we look after the ventral view, okay, we can see or we can also observe the mouth. So again, it is a head part, which is a triangular and leaf-like body structure, leaf-like flat body structure, and at the center there will be presence of the mouth. As it is the ventral part, that is the part which is next here, that is ventral. So we cannot see the eyes over here, and here this is the mouth. And this mouth, it is having a externally protruding pharynx, which is called as the protrusible pharynx. Okay, which is called protrusible pharynx. So this is about the planaria, that is the morphology. Okay, from the dorsal view we can see the eyes, from the ventral view we can see the mouth as well as protrusible pharynx. Okay, now next, the important point about it, they are hermaphrodites. So hermaphrodite in the sense they are bisexual in nature. Okay, they are bisexual in nature. The next, the development is direct. Okay, so they will give rise to the new young ones of the planaria itself. So what the development is direct. Next, fertilization is internal. Fertilization is internal. Okay, so fertilization which is taking place after the reproduction, okay, that will be within the body itself, and so what, they will give rise to the new young ones. Okay, so that is development is the direct. And one more important point about the planaria is they have high regeneration capacity. Okay, they have very high regeneration capacity, means if we cut the body from any part, okay, suppose this is from here or from the head region or even from the tail region of the body, okay, individual parts of the body will be capable of regenerating into an entire organism. Okay, so such a capability it is seen in case of planaria. Okay, so they are free living, they are found in the water, fresh water. The head is triangular in shape, the body is leaf-like. Okay, then dorsally we can see the eyes, that is rudimentary eyes are there, and ventrally we can see the mouth which is supported by the protrusible pharynx. Okay, they are hermaphrodite, development is direct and fertilization is internal, and they have the high regeneration capacity. Okay, then next, this is about the planaria. Now the third example that we are going to discuss is the fascicola, okay, hepatica. Now the third example in phylum Platyhelminthes is the about liver fluke. Okay, liver fluke. Now why it is called liver fluke? Basically it replicates or it multiplies within the liver. Okay, now let's see here example third, that is fascicola or the fasciola hepatica. Okay, so fasciola is the kind of worm and hepatica means it's about the liver. Okay, so what the name is given as the liver fluke. Fascicola means fluke and hepatica means liver. Now it is also called sheep or goat liver fluke. Okay, sheep or goat liver fluke. These are flat leaf-like. These are flat leaf-like. Okay, you can, if you have the NCERT textbook with you, you can also observe the structure of the what we say fascicola hepatica or the liver fluke into it. It is leaf-like structure. Okay, the next, these are bisexual. That means the hermaphrodite nature. The next, development is indirect. Okay, so development is indirect with many larval stages. Okay, so development is indirect in case of fascicola hepatica. The next, these are endoparasites. Endoparasites. Okay, so they are found in the animal body. So what they are called as the endoparasite. Okay, means and are digenetic. That means it consists of two hosts. Now let's see what are these two hosts. So the one or the primary host is the sheep or goat, where it will multiply and performs the sexual reproduction. Okay, and the secondary host is a type of snail. Okay, that is the name of the snail is the limnia. Limnia. Okay, it is a snail which acts as the secondary host for the Fascicula hepatica. The next, they feed on they feed on blood, comma, lymph and blood cells. Okay, so that is their nutrition. Basically, as I told you, the endoparasites are feeding onto the blood as well as lymphatic vessels or lymphatic tissues. Okay, and they also have the anaerobic type of respiration, as they are also found in the intestine, okay, of the sheep or in the liver. Okay, so what they are having the anaerobic type of respiration. So we'll write here they have anaerobic respiration. Okay, so this is everything about the phylum Platyhelminthes, that is the fourth phylum. Okay, now we have discussed about the phylum Platyhelminthes in detail. We have seen the general characteristic feature. We have added some more point like they are triploblastic, they are dorsoventrally flat. Okay, they are acoelomates. Then many more points we have added into this phylum. Okay, and we have seen the three examples, that is the Taenia solium, that is also called tapeworm. It causes a disease called taniasis. What type of respiration it have, what kind of reproduction it has, what kind of development it has. Then we have seen the nature, as it is digenetic as well as it is endoparasite, and these are also endoparasites. Then we have seen the free living Platyhelminthes, that is planaria. The development is direct in case of planaria. Okay, it has very high regeneration capacity. Okay, so all these points are very important. Okay, in terms of cracking the questions. Okay, in the NEET exam. So you have to write these points and revise it properly. Okay, and if you feel any kind of doubt during this studies, you can ask me personally, as well as you can join the Google meeting and you can ask your doubts. Thank you.